Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. People just fear living. That's it. Whenever they think about waking up, whenever they think about moving, whenever they think of sleeping, there's only fear. Some people, they enjoy being young, they enjoy their experiences, but as living goes on, fear kicks in. And they stop enjoying, they stop exploring. Some people, they enjoy living, and as they become more mature, they start to think about what living is, and then they change. And some people think right from the beginning. They think about what is life, what is their purpose. And those people, they invoke happiness. And wherever they go, they evoke happiness also. So some just fear, some people enjoy and then have fear, some people enjoy and then they think, and some people think and are happy. Fear is worse than the experience itself. Whatever we're afraid of experiencing, that experience is not as rough as the fear prior to that experience. And this is why what you and I are studying, Advaita Vedanta, the inner knowledge of oneness, this will not save us from change, will not save us from death. But this will save us from the fear of change, from the fear of death. And this is done in a very practical way, because through this inner knowledge of oneness, we realize that we are part of that oneness. We are that oneness. Our nature is infinite. Existence, awareness, joy. How can there be fear? How can there be death? How can there be change? This enlightenment is called the greatest gain, or the highest gain. I'd like to change it to highest gain. The highest gain is when you no longer seek gain. If you think about everything we do, going to school, going to work, not going to school, not going to work, it's always to gain. But the highest gain is when there's nothing to gain. You are full, you are complete. In shlokas 1, 2, and 3, we studied living for position, living for possession, living for pleasure. And through our analysis, we come to understand that these 3 P's are just a means. They are not the ends. They are a means. They serve a higher purpose, which is peace. If there's any position, any possession, any pleasure in your life, what should you do with it? Share this. If you want to live for possession, for pleasure, then work for it, but do so to share with others, to create these experiences for others. I'm pretty sure I shared this with you already, and even if I did, I'm going to share it again because it's awesome. When the asuras, those who are very lazy, selfish, these suras, those who have calmness, those who are self-absorbed, and the manavas, those who have a mixture of laziness and calmness, of selfishness and selflessness, they all approach the Creator, Lord Brahma, and they ask him for advice on self-development. And I love this idea because that's the kind of questions we should be asking the knowledgeable people. How do I grow? And what did Lord Brahma say? He just said, da. One letter, D-A, da. And what all of those asuras, those people who are wicked, what they interpreted this as daya. Daya means compassion. That you're such wicked people, always hurting others. You should be more compassionate to grow. When it came to these suras, those who live in the heavens and are always indulging, they interpreted da as dhamma. Practice discipline. Take control of yourself. Why do you live so sensuously? And when it came to humans, the manavas, they interpreted that da as dana. Dana means being generous. Humans have this tendency to be greedy, to hoard, to keep everything for themselves. But Lord Brahma said, if you want to grow, you have to engage in generosity. These 3 P's, be generous in creating these P's for others, sharing these P's for others. And then in Shloka 4, we studied how what we believe to be forever, that we're going to live forever, we're just like that drop of water on the end of a petal of a lotus that's in this body of water. Make self-development a prioritization now. And to put this into full context, you'll notice that our Chinmaya Mission group in St. John's / Jacksonville is not part of the study group right now because they've actually been evacuated. Because of the hurricane that's going through that part of Florida, they emailed me saying we can't be part of the study group. We hope that we can be part of the study group next week. No one knows what context will be delivered to us, so make self-development a priority right now. And our prayers are for our study group and all of the people who are living in the affected areas to be safe and to be sound. We move on to Shloka 5. I'm going to chant. Please repeat. All of you also try. Yavad vittoparjana saktaha. Yavad vittoparjana saktaha. Tavan nija parivaro raktaha. Tavan nija parivaro raktaha. Pascha jivati jarjaradehe. Pascha jivati jarjaradehe. Vartam kopina pritchati gehe. Vartam kopina pritchati gehe. Together. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Mudamate. So what does Acharya Shankara share here? I was just looking at some of the people in the study group here who have no idea how to follow along, so they're just like humming along. Do you all remember the band TLC? Old R&B band. TLC? Yes? Okay. One of their songs, and as I was reading this today in our travels from Buffalo to Washington, D.C., I was thinking about that song, What About Your Friends? Do you remember that song? I don't want to sing it. Me singing it in my mind is hurting my ears. So essentially in this song, that could be your raw. Go to YouTube and listen to What About Your Friends by TLC. And they're sharing is, what about your friends? Are they with you when you're down? Are they standing by you? And it's a thoughtful song. That message comes out clearly in this shloka, but not necessarily about our friends, but actually about our family. So right at the beginning, Acharya Shankara says, Yavat. And wherever there's Yavat, there will be a following Tavat. Yavat means if. Tavat means then. An if-then model. So Yavat, he says, as long as you are someone who can create vitta, as long as you're someone who's productive, you can create wealth, so long people think that you're productive. People think that you're worthwhile. As long as you can create wealth, people think that you're someone who's worthy, someone who has value. Okay? Yavat. Then you'll see in the next line, Tavat comes in. Tavat, your parivaraha. What does parivaraha mean? Family. Your parivaraha, raktaha. Raktaha here means raga, attachment. As long as you are productive, your family is attached to you. They're concerned about you. They ask questions of you. As long as you're dependable, your dependents will be around. So far, so good? So, Yavat. If I'm dependable, Tavat, my dependents will be close to me. But will you be dependable all the time? And specifically what's brought out here is about the deha, the body. Paschat. But in time, what happens is jivati. The life in this body, this deha, jara, it starts to wane. Waxing, weaning. Wane. But wean also works, right? It weans. It grows weak. It dissipates. As the body weakens, our usefulness also weakens. This is going to happen to us, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah. Our bodies are on this trajectory of becoming weaker. It's not like our hearts are getting stronger. It's not like our arteries are becoming clearer. It's not like we have less wrinkles or our skin is becoming tighter, right? We're on this trajectory downwards, and eventually we are not going to be productive. My mother and father and sister and my whole family is going to Bharat for a family wedding, and my father had sent an email to my sister saying, yeah, there's 4 of us going together. We can take 8 suitcases to Bharat. Like, that's their gauge of awesomeness is to bring so many suitcases to Bharat. And I remember as a child, my job when traveling with my family was to carry the suitcases, right? I'm stronger than my mother. I'm stronger than my father. So I would carry, 2 suitcases and feel wonderful. And I was thinking now, my father can't carry 2 suitcases. My mother cannot carry 2 suitcases. My sister can't either. Only my brother-in-law can. Their productivity is coming down. Those suitcases are going to be a burden for them. Our productivity has to come down. And when our productivity comes down, those same family members that depended on us because we are dependable, we are no longer dependable. So what happens to our relationships then? They also become infirm. They weaken. And even before I get to the last slide, if you think back to Vedic culture, in Vedic culture, we actually are taught and practice the exact opposite. As someone grows older physically, they become more valuable. That person is supposed to be cared for more. That person we're supposed to seek advice from more. That's why we have the elderly people in our families. They're like trustees. They give advice. They give upliftment. When we feel the whole world is not working out, they say, been there, done that, stop crying. Our Vedic culture is the exact opposite of this. Now when we think of elderly people, we don't think about them positively at all. You know, elderly people. They walk slow, they don't smell so nice, and they have to live in a different place. Vartam, kopi na prichati gehe. Gehe in one's home, when this body becomes infirm, kopi, nobody, prichati, vartam. Nobody even talks to someone who stops being productive. In one's own home. If a friend doesn't, that's one matter. But even in our own homes, no one asks. No one cares. Guruji, I love the jokes that he makes about the elderly, but they're very lighthearted jokes, okay? And one of the jokes is, how do you know if you're old? Because you and your teeth sleep in different places. How do you know if you're old? When you have the answers to all questions, but nobody asks you any questions. See, that's what's being shared by Acharya Shankara, when it shouldn't be like that. What this shloka is highlighting is not about elderly people. Please don't take this literally. Certainly, this shloka is teaching us to realize that we will grow older. But more so, what this shloka is bringing out is that our egos make us selfish. What is a gauge of selfishness? When all we think about is ourselves. This Saturday in Raleigh, I'm speaking in the research triangle about combating mental illness. And right now at the University of Maryland, someone had asked a question about how do you interact with someone who has a mental illness? And the first point I shared was, unless you have a mental illness, do not go around sharing that you empathize with that person. Empathy is when you've gone through the same experience. You're going through the same experience. Sympathy, certainly. Through sensitivity, we can sympathize, but we cannot empathize unless you're going through that actual experience. Empathy means not thinking about oneself, but to fundamentally think from another person's perspective. And that's so hard for us because of our egos. We just keep thinking about ourselves, about what we're thinking, what we're speaking, how we're acting. Acharya Shankara is saying, Bhaja Govindam. Bhaja means sing, seek, serve, worship, love, be. Not about you. Don't sing about yourself. Don't seek just beauty for yourself. Don't worship yourself. Govinda, the higher. And when we do, two things happen, okay? When we make the higher a priority, we prevent selfishness from coming into our personality. Traditionally, kids are supposed to grow up in homes where Bhaja Govindam is chanted by all, memorized by all. Your family should wake up to Vishnu Sahasranama. That positivity should be resounding in our ears and in our heads. Now, what resounds in our heads? Rihanna and Drake and their combinations and so on and so forth, right? We wake up, I can't wait to get online and YouTube those videos and watch them through Hotline Bling and so on and so forth. Right? And how does that make me a better person? The more that we engage in bhaja of Govinda, we impede selfishness. And when we're not selfish, even as someone becomes less productive, we don't care. We care about them, not about their productivity. We care about how we can serve them, not about how we can get from them. Okay, that's at a preventative level. Now, one more way about how to resolve this shloka. If we start to focus on the higher, if we become this older person who no longer is productive, when people stop being concerned about us, we're not affected by it. I hope you're catching that point also. At a preventative level, you're less selfish. At a more reactive level, as you become less selfish, even if people don't care for you, you're not affected by it. You're not shaken by it. You're not bothered by it. I interact with all sorts of people, and a lot of elderly people too. I've met elderly people who are so courageous as they grow older and will potentially die. They know it, their families know it, and they're the people who are bringing peace to their family members. And I've interacted with elderly people who are so fearful of aging and dying, and they just radiate that insecurity to everyone around them. Same context, getting older and dying, but the art of right contact with them is very different. So my point here is that, yes, Vivek is going to get older, Vivek is going to die. Even if nobody cares for him, fine, I don't have to be affected by that. I can make myself independent because I'm in love with Govinda. I am Govinda. So this is the essence of Shloka 5 about, this is a reality check. So be preventative, be reactive, but don't feel that this is just going to change automatically. Requires our active participation. I'm not going to take any questions today for the sake of time, but I did want to find out how many of you did your raw from last week. By a show of hands, how many of you did your raw? This one I'm really curious to see. Please keep your hands up so I can see. A lot of brave people in Tampa, a lot of cowardly people in Cleveland, Chicago, brave, London, cowardly, Washington in between, Peoria, good showing, Kansas City, good showing. All right. New York City is mad that I'm not giving them attention, like typical New Yorkers, you know? If you're close to the chat room, how many of you did your raw? Okay, good. Your raw from last week was to have a discourse with death, that you were supposed to go to a cemetery, to a graveyard. And if you're really courageous, you flew all the way to Bharat and you went to a burning ground, a smashanam, did the raw, and then flew back in time for this class. And this discourse is, what can you learn from that context of death? Here's what I think. Here's what I would have learned. Here's what I think you may have learned. Number one, some of you may have been afraid in that graveyard. Some of you may have not been afraid. If you two people went together, same graveyard, but some of you, like I said, would have been fear-filled, some of you would have been fearless. And today someone sent me an article. So we were driving from Buffalo to Washington, D.C. today, and I occasionally was checking my email. And someone sent me an email comparing vampires and Vedanta. That's what they had sent to me. And I was like, oh, how can you make a connection between vampires and Vedanta? And I didn't have time to read it. But at the end, this person wrote, you know, you're really helping me make connections to Vedanta to everything. And I just wanted to tell that person, that's going too far about vampires and Vedanta. Those people who are scared in the graveyard, I want to remind you of an episode of Star Wars where Yoda is teaching Luke. And he's sending Luke into this dark place, this abyss. And what does Luke ask Yoda? What's going to be there? And what does Yoda say? Whatever you bring with you. Whatever you bring with you is going to be there. And who does Luke see over there? Darth Vader. Is Darth Vader actually there? In here, he's there. But physically, he's not. In this graveyard, are there boogeymen? Are there ghosts? Are there skeletons? Physically, there are skeletons, but none you can see. But if you're seeing things that are moving, it's because you brought that with you. Now, taking this to a deeper level, if you were able to observe the tombstones of those in this graveyard, in this cemetery, you would have noticed that a birth date and a death date would have been common to every single one of those tombstones, correct? It's not that there's just a birth date but not a death date there. Common. But what would be different amongst every person that's there, and maybe indicated on the tombstone, maybe not, is how they lived. Some people would have lived a life of service, some people would have lived long lives, some people short lives, some with family, some without family. Each would have been different. And when people would approach Gurudev and ask him, or tell him that, such and such person died, what is our typical question related to that? How did they die? What would his question be? How did they live? Is it so important how they died? What's more important is how they live. So the reflection of this adventure was, how are you living? And for all of our Devis that are coming to our Divya Shakti retreat, starts tomorrow, we have 175 Devis that have gathered here in Washington, D.C. And one Deva. My fear is starting tomorrow. Part of what we will do is a planned death. We will go through a Vedantic journey of what it would be, what would it mean for us to die. And the focus is not on how we're dying, but to bring emphasis to how we are living. Okay? Any of the Devis who have been registered, you can still come. Tomorrow's the last day. And now you're raw for this week. Your raw for this week is you have to memorize the first 4 shlokas of Bhajagovind. You have to memorize them. And when we meet next, the first thing you have to do when you see me is chant these 4 shlokas. So wherever we see each other, whenever we see each other, be afraid. But if you're prepared, then all you have to do is chant these. And as you chant these, I want you to reflect on, how come I'm asking you to memorize 4 shlokas and not 5? There's a reason for that. Okay, so reflect on that. Finally, just a couple of brief administrative points. Number 1 is, a lot of you read the email that I sent this morning at 3 a.m. because I was thinking about all of you so much that I couldn't sleep, and I just had to send this email to you. And I said, please use the names in the attached document. And Many of you did, and many of you have not. So please do that, okay? For those who did read the document and followed the names, it's very easy then for me to recognize the study groups. There's so many of you. I want to know who's who and where. Secondly is, next week also, I will log in at 8:30 Eastern Time. You all please meet at 7:30, read and discuss, and I'll join you at 8:30. I have a Niyani Agna and Raleigh, and I'll finish at 8:30 and then start with all of you. Okay? Soumya, anything else that you need to add? Okay, good stuff. We'll finish with our prayer.